Netflix has over 6,000 titles, but the algorithm keeps feeding you the same 30 movies on a loop. It's hiding the real gems, the dark, mind-bending sci-fi that's buried deep under the surface. Today, we're digging them up. From dystopian nightmares to AI gone rogue, these are not your typical recommendations. And stick around, because our #1 pick is a total psychological fever dream, counting down the 10 best hidden sci-fi movies on Netflix right now. Let's dive in. Kicking off at number 10, Jung-E. This Korean sci-fi dropped on Netflix from the director of Train to Busan, and somehow barely anyone is talking about it. Here's the concept. In a future where wars are fought by cloned AI soldiers, a corporation decides to recreate the greatest mercenary who ever lived. Her own daughter is now leading the project. But here's where it gets dark. The original mercenary is still alive, trapped inside a machine, stuck in an endless combat simulation, being copied, tested, and discarded over and over again. This film hits you with questions about consciousness, identity, and what it really means to be human, wrapped in slick action and some genuinely emotional gut punches. If you love dark sci-fi with real heart, don't sleep on this one. At number 9, The Titan. And I genuinely don't understand why this one flew so far under the radar.
There is something alive inside of him.
I want to finish it. I can see everything.
A military scientist recruits elite soldiers to undergo a radical biological experiment. They're being physically transformed into beings capable of surviving on Saturn's moon Titan. Sounds ambitious, right? Cool even, yeah. Until the transformation starts. Because what follows is some of the most unsettling body horror you'll see in a Netflix sci-fi. The concept is terrifying, the cast is solid, and the film asks one really dark question. At what point does the transformation stop being human? If Annihilation gave you existential dread, The Titan will hit the exact same nerve. Coming in at number 8, imagine if your deepest emotions could be triggered by the simple push of a button. Welcome to the clinical nightmare of Spiderhead. Set inside a remote, high-tech prison, the film follows inmates who volunteer for experimental drug trials in exchange for reduced sentences. On the surface, the concept appears straightforward, but the reality quickly becomes far more unsettling. The drugs being tested have the power to manipulate emotions at will, inducing intense love, overwhelming fear, or uncontrollable laughter, all at the push of a button. As the experiments continue, the line between genuine emotion and artificial influence begins to blur, leaving the inmates questioning whether anything they feel is truly their own. The film builds its tension through this psychological uncertainty, exploring themes of free will, consent, and control. What begins as an intriguing, stylish experiment slowly evolves into something deeply uncomfortable. Next up at number 7, imagine sharing your entire existence with someone you've never actually met. We're looking at Jonathan. This story unfolds with a quiet, controlled intensity, following a man living a life unlike any other. Jonathan shares his body with another consciousness, his brother, with each of them existing for 12 hours at a time. Their lives are carefully structured, governed by strict rules and communication through recorded messages, ensuring that their fragile balance remains intact. For a time, this system works flawlessly, creating the illusion of stability. But that illusion begins to crack when one of them breaks the most important rule, setting off a chain reaction that slowly unravels everything they've built. As the boundaries between them start to blur, the film dives into deeply human themes of identity, loneliness, and control over one's own existence. Its slow, psychological approach creates an unsettling atmosphere, one that stays with you. Coming in at number 6, we have a high-concept sci-fi thriller, Anon.
Placing a moving image in real time. Who can hack a human being?
Set in a future where privacy no longer exists, every thought, memory, and moment of your life is recorded and accessible. Crime has almost disappeared because nothing can be hidden. But when a series of murders begins, the system suddenly goes blind. The killer has no identity, no history, and no digital footprint. As a detective digs deeper, he encounters a woman who doesn't exist in the system at all, a ghost in a world of constant surveillance. What follows is a dark, mind-bending investigation into identity and what happens when technology knows everything except the one thing that matters. This film is cold, unsettling, and disturbingly relevant. The kind of sci-fi that doesn't just entertain, it makes you uncomfortable. Breaking into our top 5, imagine a school where being obedient is the only way to stay alive. Get ready for the disturbing world of Level 16, and this one gets under your skin in a way that stays with you. Set inside a mysterious girls' boarding school, students are trained from childhood to be perfect. Obedient, clean, quiet. They're told the air outside is toxic. They're told the world beyond the walls is dangerous. Every single day follows the same rigid routine, no questions, no resistance, just compliance. And the girls who don't comply, they disappear. But as two girls start asking questions, the truth behind their so-called perfect education is so much darker than anything they imagined. Level 16 is atmospheric, suffocating, and deeply unsettling. It's a slow burn, but every single minute builds toward a reveal that will genuinely disturb you. Think The Handmaid's Tale meets a horror film, massively, criminally underrated. At number 4, we dive into a murder mystery where your very soul can be transferred like a digital file. We're looking at The Soul. This Taiwanese sci-fi thriller might be the most underrated film on the entire list. A powerful CEO is diagnosed with terminal cancer. Shortly after, his wife is accused of murder. But the investigation starts revealing something far more disturbing: soul transference, the ability to move a human consciousness from one body to another. What follows is a murder mystery wrapped inside a sci-fi existential thriller. And the deeper the detective digs, the more the lines between victim, killer, and identity completely dissolve. You genuinely don't know who you're rooting for by the midpoint. And that's exactly what makes it so gripping. Visually stunning, emotionally devastating. And the twist? The twist in this film hits different. If you've never explored Asian sci-fi cinema, The Soul is your perfect entry point. And it's been sitting on Netflix this whole time. At number 3, Night Raiders. Set in a dystopian 2043 North America, the film presents a world where the government forcibly takes indigenous children from their families and places them into heavily militarized institutions. Beneath its sci-fi surface, the story draws directly from real historical trauma, giving the narrative a weight that feels disturbingly authentic. The environment is harsh and lived in, filled with oppression, fear, and a constant sense of control that suffocates every moment. At the center of this bleak reality is a mother driven to the edge, willing to risk everything to reclaim her daughter. Her journey leads her into the hands of a resistance group, one that has abandoned any faith in the system and chosen to fight back. As their paths collide, the film transforms into a powerful story of defiance, survival, and sacrifice. What makes Night Raiders stand out is how deeply it is rooted in real pain, making its dark, gritty tone hit far harder than typical sci-fi. It doesn't just tell a story, it lingers, leaving an emotional impact that's difficult to shake. Number 2, The Discovery.
We opened the door for these people. Now we have to show them what's behind it.
In a world where a scientist successfully proves the existence of an afterlife, humanity is faced with a revelation that changes everything. Instead of bringing comfort, the discovery triggers a global crisis as millions of people begin choosing death in the hope of reaching whatever lies beyond. Death is no longer an end, it becomes a destination, and that shift alone sends society into chaos. At the center of it all is the scientist responsible for this breakthrough, now burdened with the consequences of what he has unleashed. His work, once seen as revolutionary, becomes the catalyst for unimaginable loss, as hope itself turns into something dangerously seductive. The film moves with a melancholic tone, blending philosophy with emotion and leaving you with a haunting question. If death is no longer the end, then what happens to the value of life? And finally, at number 1, a film that makes you question everything. This is Archive.
You made another like me.
I'm not replacing you.
But you did it. What was she like?
She was perfect.
I want to go home.
This is home.
Set in the year 2038, the story follows a scientist working in complete isolation on a project that blurs the line between technology and emotion. His goal is not just to create an advanced android, but to bring back someone he has lost, his wife. With each new version he builds, the machines grow closer to human, and with that progress comes an emotional weight that becomes harder to ignore. What sets this film apart is its deeply personal core, where science fiction becomes a vessel for grief, obsession, and love in its most fragile form. Every step forward feels like a step deeper into his own pain, turning the story into an emotional descent rather than just a technological journey. And then the final act hits, a twist that recontextualizes everything you've just watched, the kind that makes you want to rewind the entire film. Archive isn't just sci-fi, it's heartbreak, disguised as technology. There you have it, 10 dark sci-fi masterpieces you can stream on Netflix right now. But I want to hear from you. Which of these deep cuts is going on your watch list tonight? Or did I miss a hidden gem that blew your mind? Drop your picks in the comments. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that like button and subscribe to ReelRanks for more daily rankings. I'll see you in the next one.